Praise the Lord. We're talking about NFL football, everybody. It is here, and we are excited to give our first NFL preview show. We are talking about the AFC and the AFC only today. So we have a mix of team futures and player props, and we are excited to dive into those. Just want to remind everyone, we are now partnered with RotoViz, which is a really great site. If you haven't heard of RotoViz or haven't been there, it's a really great site for fantasy football and all kinds of other insights. We'll talk about how they can help you with betting as well and the awesome tools that they have. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube. We are out there live and on Instagram right now. We do all of our shows there. Those are the two best places to follow us. You can also follow us on X and TikTok and some other places and whatnot. So we're going to dive straight in. We're going to talk about the AFC in general. We're not going to go team by team like we did in college football. We're going to talk about the exciting things in the AFC, and we're going to start with what are you all liking about the AFC this year? Like, what dynamics are you excited about? What teams? Like, what are you looking at? Mike, how about you go first?
Yeah, man, we'll talk more about them here in a minute once we get into our plays. I'm really curious what happens with the Bengals. I'm really high on Cincy. Yes. I'm also very curious on what the transition for Cam Ward looks like. I feel like that's going to take quite a bit of time for some reason, but maybe I'm wrong there. And I'm also sneaky suspicious about the Chargers and really that whole division. Like, it's going to be very competitive. I think 3 of the 4 teams could take it and nobody would be surprised. So, yeah.
I think the Chargers are getting undersold because I think the Broncos are getting a little oversold. And I'm a massive Broncos fan, and I'm worried about the hype, mostly because my team hasn't actually had expectations in 8 years. So I'm worried about that. It's probably fan cynicism, but I will just say that, like, I am worried that the Chargers are a little undersold here, and that you can actually probably find more value as the Chargers as your sneaky AFC West team than you can the Broncos. Steve, what about you?
No, I just think it's funny. Mikey's talking about a division where, it's going to be super competitive. You don't know who's going to win. And I want to talk about a similar division, but in the extreme wrong reasons. And I'm talking about the AFC South. I am fascinated by the AFC. Now, yes, I am a Jaguars fan, and I've become a Ravens fan just so that I can look forward to something on a Sunday. But I'm a Jags fan first and foremost. When Trevor Lawrence got there, I was super excited, and it's just hasn't hit yet. And Brian Thomas last year was incredible revelation. We bring in some great talent in the running back, but buried the lead. Travis Hunter is there. I'm so excited to watch him. Just as a fan of the game, like taking fantasy and betting away from it for just a second, just watching him on my team coming from CU, which is my alma mater. Now he's at my favorite. It's just perfect. So super excited about that. And then you have the other storylines in the AFC South where, like, the Colts are kind of a shit show. We don't know really what to expect from Houston. The quarterback maybe stays healthy this year. We'll see. Anyway, AFC South for me is fascinating.
Steve, can we go back a year and a half and redo our Michael Pittman trade so you can keep him on your dynasty team, please?
Yes, sure. Absolutely.
I am in that division, and it's going to be one of my picks here. I am a CJ Stroud fan still.
Yep.
I know the sophomore slump happened. I'm excited for the bounce back. I don't know if he bounces back to, like, amazing greatness, but, like, I am still a believer in CJ Stroud in that division. I would say for me, though, overall, before we get into picks, I think, man, and probably me and every other football fan wants, like, please, God, let this be the year that the Ravens or Bills actually make it, or whatever, another AFC team, but, like, probably one of those 2 teams, like, actually beat the Chiefs, get to the Super Bowl, and put someone in the freaking Super Bowl who's not the Chiefs. Like, please, can we see that? And please, Lamar Jackson, like, I am begging you to do it this year. And I'm very hopeful. Like, they're the juice. Honestly, I didn't make any Ravens picks because they're such favorites to, like, make the Super Bowl alongside the Chiefs that I didn't do it. But I think I am begging the football gods along with everybody else that we get to see 2 of the greater quarterbacks in this generation of quarterbacks. We get to see someone who's not Patrick Mahomes, and that we get to see Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson in a Super Bowl would be my wish for the year. So
I'm here for it.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, let's dive into teams. And since I already hinted at it, I will start. And y'all have this pick too, or someone has this pick, which is Texans to win the AFC South at plus 105. I just think this is free money for all the reasons we talked about. I joked with y'all the other day, like, I guess the Jags kind of have an outside chance. So you could actually bet a unit on both of these. And the worst you would do is have even money. But I'm going to take the Texans. I think the Texans have a bounce back year. No, I don't think the Texans are a complete team. They probably win like 9 games and win this division. But I like the Texans here in just probably the worst division in football. Like it's really bad. And they are the only kind of like pseudo respectable full team in that division. But you all have this pick too, right?
I have it. Yeah.
Nice.
And I mean, for the same reason. I mean, the conference is just trash.
How dare you?
No, you agree. Shut up.
Cam Ward. I even forgot to talk about Cam Ward.
I think Cohen going to Jacksonville it's very intriguing to me. But it's first year for head coach, offensive coordinator, and defensive coordinator at their respective positions. That's going to be hard to come in and win the division in the first year. And I expect a little bit of a bounce back with Houston. I love CJ Stroud. I also love D'Amico Ryan. So I think all the odds are in their favor, and they are being dealt a very nice hand right now to win this division.
Absolutely. So let's move on to a different division here. You both have a pick in the AFC East. So that is a division that, the Bills are far and away just massive favorites. The Dolphins were kind of this up and coming team a couple seasons ago. And I think we were all excited about the Mike McDaniels of the world. I think he's my favorite personality coach in the NFL by far. Is he a great coach? I don't think we've seen it yet. So we're going to the Dolphins. Tell us what y'all have on the Dolphins. Stefan, why don't you start?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned Mike McDaniels, because if you look at the odds for the first head coach to be fired, he is number one.
He's over Steichen, really?
At plus 200. So it's like not even great money there. So the probability suggests that he, at least from a betting perspective, is assumed to be. So with that in mind, you also have to remember how many players this Miami Dolphins team has lost, either through retirement, through kind of maybe strange trades that we've seen happen, and then injuries already have hit them. And their kicker's even going to be out starting the season on injured reserve. And Sanders is, I used to write a kicking article for RotoViz so that you could just stream kickers and drop it and use it as a free square for picking up free agents. Anyway, I like kickers. I also like the Dolphins under 8.5 wins at minus 155. So that's my play. But I'm going to tell you guys something. I'm going to ladder this because you can get under 6.5 wins at plus 155, and you can get under 5.5 wins at plus 270. It does me no pleasure or joy to do this. My neighbor is a huge Dolphins fan. We drank beers together watching the Dolphins. But when things go bad for Miami, they get shit show bad. Who's the backup to Tua? Zach.
Yeah, I was about to say
Zach Wilson. And you think Zach Wilson's going to go and lead this team to victory? I sure as hell don't.
As the only one of us,
that's crazy.
Yeah, as the only one of us that was preseason betting, really, I could tell you, Zach, I made a lot of money betting against Zach Wilson.
Exactly.
In the game a lot.
So this bet is a bet that Tua isn't going to be healthy for the whole season. It's a bet that Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle are not going to be healthy. A-Chain, I always say his name wrong. He's already banged up and injured.
Baby.
A-Train.
And when he plays, he's awesome and he's so much fun. But now give me under 8.5 as the official play. And then I'm going to also do a half unit on Dolphins under 6.5 at plus 155.
Adding to that, you know who the backup running back is right now behind A-Train?
Is Jalen Wright?
Ollie Gordon.
Oh, I actually kind of like Ollie Gordon to have a huge bounce back, like resurrection in the NFL. He was so incredible that 1 year at Oklahoma State. I actually have him in a couple of these Devy leagues that I'm in because I drafted him when anyway, I'm talking too much. I'm done.
We'll see. Maybe grab Ollie Gordon as the last pick in your draft, people.
But under 6.5.
Tip. But Mike, you have a Dolphins pick here too, right?
Nope, I don't.
Oh, okay. So these are both safe. Stave's got the 8.5 and he's got the 6.5. So you're gonna ladder that down to 6.5. Let's move on let's talk about my Denver Broncos. I'm excited about this team. I won't bet for them. I can't handle. It's been 8 years since my team's had expectations, so I will not buy into the hype because my little heart can't handle it. So, Mike, tell us about the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, there's two ways I like to play it. You can play them to make the playoffs at -150, but I'm actually going to take them over 9.5 wins to get it at +125. They had 10 wins last year, and I don't see a world in which they don't get better this year. It's another year for Sean Payton to continue building his team, another year for Bo Nix to be settled in. He actually looked great last year as a rookie. I feel like it took us all about 9-10 games to buy in, and then once we bought in, we were like, holy crap. The defense was already elite last year, giving up less than 20 points a game. Pat Surtain, Riley Moss, and then they added, see if I can pronounce it right, Jahdae Barron out of Texas, the Jim Thorpe award-winning corner. Like, this corner room is insane. Not to mention you get RJ Harvey in the second round, then you get J.K. Dobbins in the offseason. Like, a lot of good things happened to this team in the offseason, and they didn't really lose a ton. So just to get them to repeat what they did last year, I'm having trouble seeing why it's at plus money right now. So I'm jumping on it.
Yep. I totally agree with all of those points, and I'm so excited about this season. This is an elite. I don't think I've seen one person who does like their, my NFL defense rankings. I don't think I've seen one person not put the Broncos at number one, which is very exciting to me. Very exciting to me. Stefan, any thoughts on the Broncos?
Yeah, I have them to make the playoffs at -138. I got a better number than you found. So I'm just going to pretend that's real. Who knows if it is? Y'all can fact check me in the comments there to call me a liar. I'm okay with it. But for now, -138. Dude, I live right outside Denver. Dude, the buzz is crazy. Like, everyone's talking about it. It is an exciting season. You talked about the defense, which I appreciate because I only ever talk about offense. And this wide receiver room is stupid. Like, it is so good. Bo Nix has so many incredible weapons. I think Troy Franklin, again, I'm an Oregon Ducks guy, and Bo Nix and Troy Franklin, can't get much better. I think he's going to have a breakout year. He's had an amazing camp after struggling this time last year. He was really buried on the depth chart. I think them trading away Vele shows their confidence in him, in Marvin Mims, and of course, Cortland Sutton is the anchor of that wide receiver room. You bring in Evan Ingram, who, when healthy, is an elite. I said it. He's a freaking elite tight end when it comes to catching
I'm on that train now.
So listen here. They're going to make the playoffs. I like your bet. I like your confidence, but I think 9 wins probably gets them in. So just in case, I'm going to just take them at that -138. So yeah, very excited about the Broncos this year. I am definitely drinking all of the orange and blue Kool-Aid.
I love it.
According to Odds Checker right now, you can get it at -127 to make the playoffs now.
Dang, that is great. I have a lot more to say about the Broncos and their weapons for the player props for a Bo Nix pick. So we'll save it. We'll save it for that. We'll keep gushing over the Broncos. Man,
sorry for. And the running back room is deep. They've got so much depth. I mean, we can keep talking about Broncos. We're a Broncos podcast now, baby.
It's crazy. So it's not the last thing I'll say about the Broncos because we're talking player props. But like, here's the thing: is like I think 2 seasons ago when we were just in salary cap hell and Russell Wilson was just absolute garbage and we had no depth. You couldn't tell me that this was only going to take 2 seasons to turn that around. Like, this is insane to me. Like, Sean Payton and then George Patton, the GM, absolute geniuses. This is awesome. All right, let's move on. We'll stop gushing over the Broncos. Let's move to the AFC North, and that is where we're going to make sure I got this right, wrap up our team picks with 2 different AFC North teams. Let's start with y'all's thoughts on the Bengals. Who wants to take that?
Yeah, I've got 2 plays on the Bengals.
It's all Mike's taking it. That's what it is.
Yeah, I'm taking them to make the playoffs at -140, and I'm taking them to win 3 out of the first 5 games at +200.
That one makes me nervous, but go ahead. Tell us why.
Let me tell you why. So we all know the story about how bad the freaking Bengals are to start the season for like the last 5 years.
You used this as an example in the soccer podcast last week. In fact, that's how I know that this is.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So now I'm real interested to hear your switch here.
Yeah. So it's Joe Burrow, man. This is the only offseason since he has started that he has been healthy and made it through a full training camp healthy. In 2021, he was coming off his knee reconstruction. 2022, he had the appendectomy. 23 is the calf injury. 2024, he played, attempted to participate in camp, but he had the wrist injury. And you saw him working the wrist like the first 6 games of the season.
Yep.
Then they side Trey Hendrickson, and you bring in Al Golden from Notre Dame as the new defensive coordinator. And then the first 2 weeks of the season are, I think it's the Jags and the Titans, maybe something like that. No, Browns and the Jags. That's what it is. So then you've got to win one of the next 3 against the Vikings, Broncos, and Lions. I think they beat the Vikings too. I don't know if JJ McCarthy is going to be that good coming out of the gate. So I think they could legitimately hit this in the first 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So at plus 200, I think they're tired of sucking the first 5 weeks of the season. And as good as they finished the last year, I fully expect them to come out looking for serious revenge this year. So
I love that.
Joe Burrow with Trey Hendrickson, man, it's going to be fun.
My only counter argument, their history of starting slow, but like, I tend to just fade teams the first 4 weeks of the season that don't take the preseason seriously because they just don't care. Like they do care about those games, but eventually they just bounce back. Like the Bengals outside of last year, they just bounce back and make the playoffs anyways, which is why I like your second pick.
That's fair. But they did actually play a little bit in the preseason this year, I think.
That's good.
I need to vet that, but I'm pretty sure they played against the Eagles in the preseason game.
Very nice. Very nice. And you talked about them to make the playoffs, right?
Yeah,
just about the first 3 out of 5, but you mentioned them to make the playoffs. All right.
Yeah, it's just going to continue all season, and there we go.
Wonderful. All right, last one I believe is also Mike. Stay in the AFC North. Team pick. We have a number of player props for everybody. Stefan also has one more pick to go. Steph, why don't you start us off with yours?
Yeah, I'm going to go Steelers to miss the playoffs. I was pretty surprised at the number when I saw it. The number, I have to pull it back up, that I saw today was minus 130. Listen, if I can fade Aaron Rodgers at minus 130, I'm all in, baby. So you add into that, the Steelers have the 24th most difficult strength of schedule, and that's obviously not the worst, but it's a harder schedule than most. And a lot of that's because they are in that division where they have to go up against the likes of Cincinnati twice, Baltimore twice. Like, that's really, really tough. That's 4 losses right there. I just don't see them making the playoffs. I am all about the fading of the Rodgers.
That is great. I was telling y'all earlier, I forgot Stafe was the one who brought this to our attention, which is like, I didn't know a way to not to bet against the Steelers this year. And the whole like Mike Tomlin, hasn't had a losing record thing. They can still win 9 games and miss the playoffs here. So I think that's great. And this might be the year that he doesn't have a winning record, actually. Like, I think Aaron Rodgers is absolutely toxic, and I think it was him as much as the Jets. So I like that quite a bit. All right. Any other thoughts on teams and how they're going to do this season? Or are we moving on to players? Awesome.
I'm good to move.
Let's talk player props. We have a handful for you. It looks like about 4 of them, maybe 5. I will get us kicked off. I'm going to take Brock Bowers 5+ receiving touchdowns. It's all the way juiced at minus 175. That's because it's absolutely going to hit. Look, it was like a weird thing that we all talked about, that Brock Bowers was like a top 3 tight end in football for almost the entire season last year and barely caught any touchdowns. And it was weird. Like, I remember like the juice on him to score a touchdown was so good for being one of the top tight ends in the league. And there's no way with Pete Carroll there and now Geno Smith throwing the football, like a good quarterback, that he's not going to break this in like the first half of the season. I think Brock Bowers might put himself as the best tight end in football this season, is my bold proclamation.
What was the number that you said? How much? What's your
5+ receiving touchdowns? So either 5 or more.
Yeah.
We all have seen what Pete Carroll likes to do from the 1-yard line. So
he likes to throw it, baby. Hey, I'm going to talk about the RotoViz projection machine in just a minute, but they project Bowers at 5 touchdowns. So that would be like you'd hit.
Nailed it. I think,
yeah.
And I think they're only projecting him that low. They're only projecting him that low because his total last year was so low. I'm guessing that would be a part of the formula. Yeah.
Well, he also is tied for team lead with 5. I think they just expect a lot more. So anyway, we'll talk about the projection. I'm just saying, I like it. Rotoviz likes it.
Yep.
He had 0 touchdowns inside the 10-yard line last year, and it's only got to go get better from here.
Yeah, that's not going to happen again. All right.
If you think about what Pete Carroll did with Jimmy Graham that year, we had him.
Oh yeah,
I was a Seahawks fan that year. I'm all over the place, y'all.
Yeah,
but he was just like post up and shoot, like.
Yep. Stefan, why don't you take us to your next player prop and tell us about the tools you're using for that?
Okay, so mine is Brian Thomas Jr. over 7.5 receiving touchdowns. I've already told you that I like the Jaguars, so I wanted to find a way to bet them. So what I did is I went over to Rotoviz and I used their projection machine tool, which is really cool. You basically, they've got a template built out for you that shows like run pass percentage, how many plays they'll do at each, and then it breaks it down into like target shares for different players and touchdown to target ratios and stuff like that. So by using these numbers, you can project and build out projections for every team, every player. But I looked at Brian Thomas, and it did in fact show him to be projected at 8 touchdowns. So it kind of was all the proof I needed to go with this bet, because I was looking for a reason to do it. And it just kind of cemented it for me. So if you're using for fantasy purposes, it makes a lot of sense because you can like put these numbers in and you get like fantasy output. Yep. It's great for betting player props too. And we'll do this on a weekly basis as well, where we use different tools. These are more season long, so it's perfect for futures. And now that I have a little bit of time before the season starts with college football kind of hitting a crescendo here, I'm going to be diving in and doing a lot more future props based on this. But it's a really cool tool. But the other reason I like Brian Thomas is he had 10 touchdowns last year as a rookie. I think that, yes, Travis Hunter is going to steal a lot of targets. It's also going to spread the defense out. It's going to open up different things. I think Liam Cohen is super creative offensive mind. Mike, you talked about him earlier. He's going to scheme plays for both Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter. Last year, after the bye week, this was his rookie campaign. After the bye week, the following 6 games, Brian Thomas Jr. had double-digit targets in every one of those games. So he is someone that they're looking to run that passing offense through. I think Travis Hunter there just helps things. 7.5 is a really low number. So we're going to go with that at minus 140. It's a little juicy, but I'm going to take it.
I love that. And Travis Hunter's my guy. I have his jersey hanging on my wall. He's my Heisman, CU guy. That man is prone to injury. And so there is a chance that Brian Thomas gets more than was projected as far as target share goes, for sure. Well, cool. Let's keep it moving here. Actually, Steve, why don't you hit us with another one? I think you have.
That's my only player prop.
Oh, in that case, Mike's got our next one then.
Yeah, I've only got one. This one was gross, and I don't like taking it because it means pro Aaron Rodgers kind of. But DK Metcalf over 925.5 receiving yards on the season at minus 110. DK has hit this number every year since his first year. That year he missed it. He still had 900 yards. I get the concern about the Arthur Smith offense, but last year Pickens had 900 yards with a combination of Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. Aaron Rodgers loves to pepper his number one receiver. Garrett Wilson last year had over 1,000. Even Devontae Adams had over 800, but he only had 11 games with him. His number one receiver has hit this in all but 1 year since 2018.
Wow.
The Steelers last year, Pickens had a 22% target share. I'm sure there's somebody out there, but I could not find a receiver that had a 22% target share last year and did not hit this number. I expect them to run, and then throw to DK, and then run, and then throw to DK, and maybe one over here to Pat Freiermuth, but then it's going back to DK on repeat all freaking season. So over 925, I think he goes over 1,000. You could easily ladder this up if you wanted to, but minus 110, I'll go ahead and ride it 925.
Awesome. Awesome. I like that. I also like DK. Like, I don't care what he's another one of my favorite personalities in the league, and I think he's a really good receiver.
Agreed.
All right, I will take the last pick here of the show. And my only pro Broncos pick, I will not pick the team. Give me our boy Bo Nix over 3,500 passing yards. It's juiced to -150. That's because he threw for 3,770 last year as a rookie. So I honestly think like there's a sophomore slump in some people. I honestly think with the weapons that the Broncos have and the defense they have, Bo Nix's floor this year is probably where he ended, was what he did last year. I think that's his floor. I don't know how high his ceiling is. Like, I wouldn't say like all of a sudden his ceiling like skyrockets because of that, but I do think his floor is his rookie year this season. I say that because Evan Ingram looks like an absolute stallion, man, in preseason. Looks like a beast. I am a Pat Bryant early fangirl, man. Like, I saw that dude play in preseason, and he's the reason why we traded Mike's Utah boy Vele. Pat Bryant is the man. Then you also have the Mims and Troy Franklins. We've already talked about all that. A deeper running back room. All of those things set up Bo Nix to throw for even more yards than 3,500 and maybe even exceed his 3,700 from last year. I also would argue that having the level of defense they have gets Bo Nix more possessions. And so I like that angle. I like that if you have a really killer defense, your quarterback gets more possessions. I guess maybe the flip side of that, if I'm going to devil's advocate myself, which I'm going to do, is that maybe that they have the lead so much he doesn't have to pass as much. But I don't know. I think I like the upside, man. I like that I really think his floor is kind of what he did last year. So
yeah, if the win total is at 9.5, that suggests they're going to have to be throwing to win some games. So I like it. Yep. And you just convinced me to add another player prop. I'm going to go Cortland Sutton over 1,000 receiving yards.
Yeah.
If Nix is going to do that good, Sutton already went over 1,000 last year, so I'll get added on again this year. He just got paid too.
All right, so I want you. I'm looking this up in the projection machine, and Bo Nix projected 3,654. So ding, 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 ding. Cortland Sutton projected at 1,017.
Dang, man, that's scratching by.
Let's go.
It's gonna be week. It's gonna be week 17, and we're gonna be needing Cortland Sutton to get like one more reception in the fourth 100%. Quarter to hit this.
I love it.
I love that. All right, let's run it down. Let's start with the teams first. We'll go through our picks each through teams, and then we will end with player props. Before we do that, don't forget, if you're listening to us on RotoViz, don't forget to go follow us on YouTube and Instagram, especially. And then if you're listening to it, and then if you're not listening to us on RotoViz, go check out RotoViz. Go subscribe, use these tools, all those things. So we're going to promote both ways here. And we're excited to see y'all out there. Talk to us, comment, all of those fun things. So, all right, let's run it down. I'll start with my only team-based pick, which is the Texans to win the AFC South at +105. Mike, why don't you hit us next?
Yeah, I am also on that play. And then I also have the Bengals to make the playoffs at -140, the Bengals to win 3 of their first 5 games at +200, and then the Broncos over 9.5 wins at +125.
All right, I've got the Broncos to make the playoff at -138. I've got the Steelers to miss the playoffs at -130. And then I've got the Dolphins, I've got them under 8.5 wins at -155, but then I'm also going to play them on an alt line. We're going to go Dolphins under 6.5 wins at +155.
Awesome. Let's talk about player props. I'm going to have Brock Bowers, 5 or more receiving touchdowns, and then I will take Bo Nix at over 3,500 passing yards. Mike, what do you got?
DK Metcalf over 925.5 receiving yards, and Cortland Sutton over 1,000 receiving yards at +115.
And I'm going to take Brian Thomas Jr. over 7.5 receiving touchdowns at -140.
Awesome. That's it. That's how we're going to make money in the AFC this year. Stay tuned for the NFC preview show. We also have college football weekly shows already rolling, and soccer. Don't forget those. So we will talk to you over there and see y'all later.